What's going on YouTube? This is IPSec. I'm doing PivotAPI from HackTheBox, which was either a incredibly insane machine or a hard machine depending what route you went down. Both routes began with a reverse engineering a binary. That was an obfuscated .NET one. We'll show two different ways to do this, and what that gets you is credentials to a Microsoft SQL service. You can either set up a network pivot through MSSQL and access a WinRM port, which is the insane path, or you can just enable XP command shell and pop the box that way using some unconstrained delegation, which we show at the very end of the video. The insane path with enabling WinRM, you get a second set of credentials they can use to SSH into the box, and then you have to do a bunch of Bloodhound tricks to get to a different user, reverse a second binary, get credentials to that user, and do more Bloodhound tricks in order to get into the laps group, which enables you to read the root password of the machine and log in. So with all that being said, let's jump in. As always, we'll start off with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, oa output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it PivotAPI, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.240. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have a ton of ports open. And at a quick glance, whenever I see like Kerbrute and all these other things open, I'm going to think it's going to be a Active Directory server. But I always like starting from the top. So let's go through this. We see FTP is on port 21, anonymous FTP login is allowed, and we have some files. So we should obviously download all these files. So I'm going to make dir FTP, go in here, and I'm just going to use wget to download. I think it's -m to mirror. So I can do FTP 10.10.10.240, and it should already use anonymous login. I don't have to specify anything. So the next thing we have is 53. This is DNS. We have Kerbrute on 88, MSRPC. This is remote procedure call 135, 139, and 445. So these things I think of like as supporting SMB. But a lot of this stuff isn't too interesting. We do have LDAP on 389. So this is kind of like the Active Directory server we are thinking. TCP wrap. We have MSSQL, which is certainly interesting. And it's leaking the host name, which is PivotAPI, and the DNS domain name, which was up here with the LDAP as well as Licodibellota. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but it is a domain name. So the very first thing I'm going to do is add this to my host file. So sudo vi etc host. And then we should go with 10.10.10.240, PivotAPI, and then the domain name, and then the domain name with PivotAPI beginning with it. So we have all the ways to specify this domain. So save that, and let's go take a look at the files we had downloaded with this wget. So let me just open up a file browser. Let's go to HTTP, PivotAPI, FTP, and then we can look at each of these files. So this one looks like some paper. I'd probably like copy and paste a string of this and see if it's on Google. EICA best paper proceedings. That's a funny name. But just glancing at this, this is a stack-based overflow. We have a Black Cat paper from 2009. Another buffer overflow paper. So there's just a bunch of papers here. Notes 1 is some Windows internal, it looks like, about stealing tokens of processes. Notes 2, shell coding. So nothing really too interesting yet. We have this one, another buffer overflow paper. A readme.txt, that's just telling people to change the download mode to binary so files are not corrupted. And that is probably a hint if you do FTP 10.10.10.240 and then log in with like anonymous and you try to download a file without saying mode binary. I think it's mode binary. Let's see, mode binary. What is it? FTP switch to binary mode. By default, FTP is in ASCII, and obviously that's not going to be Great. Do I just type binary? Okay, yep. You do that, then you can download files. But if you don't do that, you're in ASCII mode, and when you get some binary data, it may like end the string prematurely because like a null byte would terminate the file transfer or something weird like that. But using wget, it didn't seem like we have to worry about that because all the PDFs opened up. Right now, I'm not exactly sure what we are supposed to do with these PDFs, so I'm just going to use exiftool to examine them real quick. And if I look, we do have this creator and author tag, and this is leaking potentially usernames. So I'm going to do this exiftool again and grep for creator and then \pipe to do an OR. And we can do author. And now we have potentially more users. We also have some junk right here. So what I'm going to do is awk print 3 and then go to users.text. And then let's edit this to fix it up. So Microsoft and unknown, we can probably remove that. And one of those had a first and last name, I want to say, before I did that awk. Yeah, Byron Gronzith. So let's go here. And also, since we have his full name, I just want to put it in a few different formats because now we're going to find out which of these accounts are valid, if any. And one does stick out right off the bat. This one has a capital first letter, which is just interesting. But let's go and download Kerbrute. So Kerbrute GitHub, go here. And we could download this release package, but I see it's December 15th, 2019. But the latest one commit is November 16th, 2020. So I'm going to just download the source and compile it real quick. So git clone. It's cloning into Kerbrute. So we go here, just type go build, as long as you have the Golang compiler, and it builds just fine. So I'm going to copy this up a directory. Let's move Kerbrute to Kerbrute-source. And then copy it to a directory. So now I can use Kerbrute, which is a tool that will query Active Directory over Kerberos, and it does a like pre-authentication check with user enum, so you can validate if a username exists or not. You can also like brute force passwords and other things, which is really good because it won't create the event. I think 4625 maybe the event code failure. Let's see. I know it's a 46. Yep, 4625 is invalid login and like SMB logins. But with Kerberos, it doesn't generate that log. So if you go to ipsec.rocks and search for an earlier video, I did more research before recording it, so probably am talking about it better than that. However, the simple thing we have to do is just specify the location of the domain controller, so --DC. We can do 10.10.10.240. The domain was like liquor d below, like that, I think. And then we want to say user enum, and then the user file, text file. And we get a hit. It is a valid username, Chaos. But in addition to it being a valid username, Kerbrute will also attempt to do a Kerberos like no pre-authentication check. And if it does, it can get a hash, which is what we see here, in Active Directory for that particular user. If the box do not require Kerberos pre-authentication is checked, then that's when you get this. So let's save this hash. And we'll do v, actually let's go up one, v hashes.text, save it, and then we have to go over to the Kraken to crack it. And the main reason I am doing this by SSHing into a different machine is because I'm also recording a video, and cracking is a high CPU intensive process, so bad things could happen if I just did this on my host machine while recording. For you guys, just do it on your host machine. Don't do it in a VM because VMs would be extremely slow. So now let's go into the hashes folder. We can put PivotAPI, paste in the hash, And then I'm also running the newest version of hashcat. I downloaded it before I did this video. So the cool thing about hashcat now is gone is the like having to specify the mode to do the crack. Now it automatically detects it. So if I do hashcat.bin PivotAPI opt word list rocku.txt, it should, yep, start in auto detect mode and find this hash. Now, the downside about auto detect mode is if you're doing two hashes that like match identically, such as MD5sum and NTLM are both 32 hex characters, auto detect may not work there. So it's still important to know how to do hashcat manually. And oddly enough, there's no hash mode matches the structure of the input hash. So I'm going to look at my input hash, and it is Kerbrute ASREP and then encryption type 18. So let's take a look at this, and let's do hashcat example hashes less and search for this. So we have encryption type 23, and that's actually it. So let's see if we can find this real quick. Encryption type Kerbrute 1823. I want to say 23 is MD5 and 18 is AES, but we may be able to pull it here. Let's see. Because this would be, I guess, one important benefit of, like, yeah, here it is. RC4 HMAC. So this is encryption type 23, and then 18 is ASCTS HMAC SHA-1. So, yeah. The reason why Kerbrute pulled 18 is because it probably defaults to the most secure option, which is how Windows clients should be. If your Windows clients are pulling RC4 HMAC, then there's a group policy that you can set to enforce strongest encryption. You normally wouldn't want to disable RC4 HMAC because you may just break random programs that are coded poorly because they don't support the better option. So what most people recommend is setting the group policy to enforce always choosing AS when available, and then setting up some type of log monitoring for whenever a RC4 HMAC ticket is handled out, because that's probably going to be Impacket or Kerbrute or someone doing something bad. Why hashcat doesn't support mode 18, I'm not exactly sure, but even so, I would still probably default to pulling the RC4 HMAC because it is much, much quicker. That's why it's deprecated, because it was a bad encryption type. So let's go back to our Kerbrute. So probably best to just exit. And then we can do /Kerbrute and specify -- downgrade. And this will downgrade to encryption. And not found. Is it in FTP? Yeah, let's move that out of FTP. We can do Kerbrute and users.txt. There we go. So the reason why Kerbrute would default to the most secure is in case someone has some type of alerting. You won't get alerted for pulling a AES ticket. But now that we have this, let's go back into the Kraken. And we can do cd hashcat, and then v hashes PivotAPI, replace this hash, and let's run hashcat with this. So hashes PivotAPI opt word list rocku.txt. So it auto detects, and it now has successfully detected and cracked it because it has recovered. If we go all the way up, we can see the password was Roper4155. And I also want to say it should show, yep, the mode it chose. So again, if you're doing like NTLM hash cracking and then you run it, you don't get results and you see, oh, wait, it's in mode, I want to say 0 or 1, which is just MD5. I wanted 1000, which should be NTLM. I just want to check this real quick. 0, MD5, and it looks like there is no 1, maybe? Hash mode 10 is MD5's worth of salt. But yeah, 0 is MD5 and NTLM is 1000. So, we have the password. What was it? I want to say it was like Roper and then some numbers. I'm just going to do hashes PivotAPI show. And we have the password. So let's go vcreds.txt, KAORZ, roper4155. So now let's run, I think, CrackMapExec. There we go. SMB we can do 10.10.10.240-U KAORZ-P roper4155. So we have, wait, I'm kind of surprised it says Windows 10. I thought it would have said like 2016 or 2018. Okay. Maybe I don't pay attention to that much, but I thought it normally said server. Opt, CrackMac, get pull. Let's see, poetry install. Is this how you do it? I'm hoping I'm installing it correctly. I won't worry about it too much. Reading error messages is not how I want to do this video. So CrackMapExec does show this account is valid. However, we can't do anything with this. We could download files and that's about it, because it's not saying like stir pwned. And also if we look at, let's see, 5985 and 5986 to see if WinRM is open. I don't think it is, but we can do 10.10.10.240 and see if it is. No, both are filtered. So all we have really access to is SMB. I'm going to add the -- shares, and this will list all the file shares for this. And we can see we do have 3 shares we can read: IPC, netlogin, and sysvol. I don't think this netlogin is default. It may be, but the next thing I like doing is just --M and then spider_+. And this is going to crawl all the shares and list all the files in this directory. It can take a little while to run, so I'm just going to pause the video. It'll probably be, actually, this will tell us how long it takes to run. So yeah, when I resume the video, we'll see how long this took. Not long at all. We can see it took 22 seconds, and we have the results here. So let's do cd temp spider plus, and then we can cat 10.10.10.240.json and see we have a bunch of files. So the best way to view JSON, of course, always is using the JQ program. And then we can also take this like a step further, because I'm not really interested in this timing stuff yet. I just want to know all the files. So if I do this single quote, period, and I want to say, we just say keys, we can see the key of each thing. And this is going to be each file share, so that's not really that important. So let's get the value of the key. And now we have the share and all the files that are in it without like the noise of time and size. So sysvol, we have some group policy stuff that's not too, and wait, oh, these files are in sysvol as well. Netlogon has these, so I think netlogin may be default on an Active Directory server. It's been like, I don't know, all the share names blend together, but this may be related to like running scripts and stuff, and then these group policies have them. Yeah. So I was probably wrong earlier when I said netlogin wasn't a default, but it has some interesting files in it. Then our IPC has a bunch of things. So we probably want to download these files from the share. I'm going to just use, I'm sure I could use CrackMapExec to download the files, but at this point, I'm just going to use SMB client -U KAORZ, then 10.10.10.240 /net logon, and then roper4155. Did I type that right? I did. And let's go into help desk, and we can mget star. And mget's just going to download every file. It'll annoyingly ask, do you want to download each file? But just say yes, and we have all the files. Downside is they're not where we want them, so I'm just going to make dir smb, go in smb, and move star dot star, I guess, into HEB PivotAPI smb. So now we have 3 files. The ones I'm going to focus on first are these .msg files because focusing on an exe first would take a while. So let's go and view this file. Less server.message binary. Oh, that's ugly. So let's file it. It is a Microsoft Outlook message. So what I would probably recommend doing is just opening up an Outlook. But if you don't have Outlook handy, I just probably Google the MIME type and search like bash to see how to view it in bash. Let's see. Maybe bash convert. Opening a message file in Ubuntu. And it talks about installing a bunch of these things. The main thing is this lib email message. Well, I guess it's a dependency, but you want to download these files, and then you have message convert. So if I do now message convert stir.msg, now we have .eml extensions. So if I look at server msql.eml, we can actually read the contents. This, looking at the attachment, is a application RTF, so this is probably just the same thing as the email, just enriched text format, so they have like text formatting. So I'm not going to pay too much attention to it. Good afternoon. Due to the problems caused by the Oracle database installed in 2010 in Windows, it has been decided to migrate to MSSQL at the beginning of 2020. Remember that there were problems at the time of restarting Oracle Service, and for this reason, a program called Resetservice.exe was created in order to log into Oracle and restart the service. Any doubts, contact us. So that's probably what the Restart Oracle Service is. It's just a program that probably has hard-coded binaries to do something to restart this service. Let's look at WinRM. And it says, after the last pen test, we have decided to stop externally displaying WinRM services. Several of the employees are the creators of Evil-WinRM, so we don't want to expose this service. We have created a rule to block the exposure of the service and have also blocked TCP, UDP, and even ICMP output so that no shells of the type ICMP are used. So it's just talking about the firewall. And we also can look at like the email. It is to help desk. I don't see a from. I don't know who sent this email. Nothing there. Less server msql.eml. We have to cybervaca. So we have another user potentially on this box. We could go back here, v users.text, add cybervaca, and go do our Kerbrute. So that was in this pane that has the history, user enum. And we do have the valid user, cybervaca, but there is no, or pre-authentication is required, so we don't get his hash. But at this point, we did validate that that is a user. So let's go back into our SMB directory. And we want to look at this Restart Oracle service. So I'm going to do a file against it. We can see it's just a PE32 executable. I want to say if it was .NET, file would be able to tell me it is .NET, so we know this is not .NET. We could run strings against it and see if we get any quick wins. I'm just like glancing at the output to see if we have any like human readable strings. Just a bunch of stuff. This is a, I think, export table or import table. And doesn't really look like we have anything. This is all just some type of packing. I'm seeing a lot less strings than I'm used to seeing, and everything's like the same length. So I'm guessing it got ran through an obfuscator. So let's go and copy this over to a Windows box so we can see what it does. So Python 3-m HTTP server. And then I also want to do an IP-ADDR. And I want my 192 address so I can copy it easily to my Windows box. So let's go up here, WinDev, Go to Chrome, then 8000, download Restart-Oracle Service, and let's copy it over to our desktop. Did not copy? Oh, there it is. So I'm going to go in a command prompt. Desktop. Oh man, there we go. That's bigger. /restart-Oracle Service, and we see it does nothing. So what I'm going to do is run procmon, and this will kind of tell me what the process is doing. And one thing that you should always do before reversing something is take a snapshot. I did not snapshot my machine, so if this was actual malware or something, I could like hose the machine and just be sad day all around. So running this now, not seeing anything. Is this not starting? Let's see, filter. Let's remove. Okay, we see everything. Oh, I don't have .exe. So if I filter for .exe, we can see everything that this program did. Is there an easy way to change the font size? 22. There we go. Make this bigger. Okay. It's a bit better. So now we can see what this process is doing. It's doing a bunch of registry stuff, loading image. Again, open registry. This is just like the program loading. And we do have it creating a file in appdata local temp. And let's make this a bit bigger. We can see it creates this E8BF thing. And then we can go to it. So let's go C:users IPsec appdata local temp. And then we want to look for E8BF. E8? I'm typing E8 and nothing's coming. So it looks like it deleted that file already. So the one thing I'm going to do, and again, should only do this on like a machine like a VM. I would never do this on a production machine, but let's go and remove our ability to delete files. So there we go, IPsec. Let's take away full control, modify, read and execute's fine, list folder contents, read and write. That looks good. I don't think we can delete files now. Windows really doesn't like when you do this. So, yeah. It errored a bunch. I just kind of ignored it. Let's see. Is there a way to clear this? Reset filter. No. Let's see. Drop filtered events. That did not do it. Don't want to do that again. Clear. There we go. So let's run this program again. And then we can scroll near the bottom to look for the file it creates. 54AE. Now seeing if we can see like the fail on trying to delete it. Oh well. 54AE. Let's see if we can find that. C:local temp. And then 54AE. So now we have some files. So if I cat this, we have a bunch of stuff. A lot of base64, and that writes it to oracle.txt. So I'm going to copy this again. Let's go over to our Linux machine, and I'm going to make dir dub, which I should have done earlier, but I knew I was in the SMB directory, didn't have anything interesting. But let's copy this into dub, go into that directory, run the server, and now let's do temp.bat, I guess is the name. Paste the file in, and we should see what this is doing. So it's looking if the username is equal to Cybervaca, FrankieTech, or Evasion. And if they are, it goes to this, which drops Oracle.txt. Otherwise, it's going to go all the way to error, which goes to nothing. So let's get rid of this. Actually, let's just do the echoes. We can comment this stuff out. And now it's pretty much a bash script. So let's rename c:\program data to nothing. And now it's just goracle.txt, which is fine. And I can run it with bash, and we have goracle.txt. If I do file against it, it is ASCII text, because it is just this base64. So we can do base64-d, goracle2, goracle, and now we file it. It is another executable. So what was the first one? This restart service? This is just a PE32 executable. This is, I guess, compiled. No, PE32 executable console. This one is stripped, but not too much there. So let's move goracle to goracle.exe, and we can go back to our WinDev machine, and let's execute this. So where is my browser? I closed it. So go back to this, download goracle, copy it to my desktop, and then let's open up Procmon. Let's go filters. We can change this one to be just goracle.exe. Apply it. Yes, add it. And then we can execute it. So /goracle. It's hanging and just has this restart Oracle prompt. So we could look at exactly what this does. Load image, reg open key. Let's see, load image, that's MS core, reg, bunch of stuff. So I don't really see it creating files or anything. So the one thing I do want to look at out of curiosity is all the images it loads. So I'm going to create a filter for this. So we'll include load image. And here's all the DLLs it uses. Oddly enough, it is pulling a .NET DLL, MS Core. And I don't think that is normal. We can check that by, let's go filters. Filter, we can replace this with cmd.exe, because that is not a .NET program. We want to leave the DLL. And here, we're not loading any .NET DLLs in our CMD prompt. So this is now becoming interesting, because the file itself is not .NET, but it loads a .NET DLL. So it looks like it's some obfuscated form of .NET. So let's see, goracle.exe. Yes. Oh wait, I wanted that. Let's see, architecture, process name, goracle.exe. Add, apply. There we go. So we can see all the DLLs it loads. I executed it twice, so that's why I see it twice. So let's open this up in a debugger. I can show you generally what I would do in this case. So x96 debug, release, open this up, and then file, open, go back to the desktop, goracle, and then we want to go up to main. So we're hitting TLS callback breakpoints. I know this is super small. We won't be too long in here. So it goes to entry. This is thread entry. So this is probably different than what default is. So all I did here is I went to Options, Preferences. You can set where you want it to break. So TLS callbacks, I was breaking there. It's also breaking on exit and entry. I don't know what is default. I think it's just like this. I think that's your default options in 96 debug. But it stops. So the one thing I would do is just set it to be the exit. So I'm going to run the program. Thread created, process stopped with exit code here. So the process is running now. And we hit the breakpoint. If I go again, debugging stops. So now we stop this program from exiting. We can go into the memory map and start pulling things out. How do I make this font bigger? Let's see, preference, no, appearance, font, general, disassembly, maybe general? There we go. So what I want to look at is mapped memory. This is all IMG. It's not interesting. Private map. And I'm looking at, I glanced first for like read, write, execute memory, and I don't see anything. So the next thing I want to look for is read, write memory that is mapped. Let's see. There's a lot of it. Image. Where am I? Text. Can I just sort by this? Yep. So map. Let's go. Why are you changing? The program stopped. Follow and dump. So this, nothing. Let's go to the next one. Read write. Follow and dump. And we have a MZ header right here. So we can see it starts with, let's go options, appearance, font. Let's see. Maybe we changed it all to 18. Hex dump. There we go. So we can see the MZ header right here. So this is a PE, which is just a way of saying like Windows executable. So I'm going to dump memory to file. Oracle.bin, and we can put it on the desktop. And I'm going to rename this to be Oracle memdump.exe. So again, the reason why I went down this path quickly in the debugger was I knew this program utilized .NET. So I wanted to see if I could extract the .NET executable it was doing some type of injection with. So memdump, and now it stopped working. Username or password is incorrect. So at this point, we can open up in DNSpy, which is just a .NET decompiler, and we can do file, open, and then restart Oracle Service. Oh, no, that's not it. File, open, Oracle memdump. And we see it's, I think app domain is called run as. And we're just looking at this, the program. We can see it's calling cmd.exe, specifying scexe, stop Oracle Service, and then start it. Username is svc Oracle. And we have the password Oracle Service 2010. So this is all good, and I'm going to copy this to my Kali machine. So svc_Oracle and this. So let's go, my parent machine, I should say. Old habits die hard. So let's go back into my creds file, and then Oracle SVC. There we go. So going back into WinDev, we could do this challenge a different way, and how I did this extraction wasn't actually the intended way. The intended way was to just use API Monitor and grab it that way. So if we look at this, it's just using like the default like process start thing. So if I Google API Monitor, I think it's on like Rohit tab or something. I probably pronounced it wrong, but yeah, this program, I think I used it in another video. Let's see. Download. This is going to be like process by, but it sets up a bunch of hooks. We'll monitor like all the Windows API calls. So let's install this. Come on. Bring to install. Accept. Complete. So since it monitors all the API calls, we can see it making this process create thing with credentials. So let's see, what is API Monitor? I think it just put it somewhere. There we go. That's 32. Did I download the 32-bit version? That's going to be annoying. There we go. Bring to install. Okay. Yeah, I think I installed only the 32-bit version the first time. Now I should have 64-bit. So API Monitor. What is it? 164. There we go. So it's loading. We can now file monitor new process. And let's specify the desktop. And then we want, what is it? Oracle.exe. No arguments. Okay. And oh, I think we have to check everything. So this is like what we want to hook, and I generally hook everything and then filter out afterwards. So bit of clicking here, and everything's clicked. So let's file. Is there a run? Let's just do this again. Okay. Come on. Restart Oracle. And there we go. So this is the very first one I ran. Has nothing. Here now we have it hooked. And we can see everything is doing. So that's a lot of prints. You can... Okay, let's go to the bottom before it shuts down, I guess. Status success. Delete critical section. Heap free. Get process. CLR. So CLR, this is the .NET stuff. So I probably passed it if we're already in the CLR. Maybe it's exiting. Let's see, apphelp.dll. Let's get process address. This is a lot of data to go through. Let's try sorting by duration. Is that easy? Can I not do that? Sorting by error? Doesn't look like I can do that. I'm going to just scroll quickly and look at error. So let's see. Buffer. Oh, system. Couldn't find something. Let's see, maybe page up and down is the better way to go about this. It's another buffers. It's funny when, like, I can do this statically faster than I can do it dynamically. Normally this is the faster method. Let's see. System could not find something. Nope. Well, there's a lot of errors here in the registry. Data can't. Let's see. System can't. CLR. I think we're getting close. That's open thread. So I think we just injected the .NET program here. Environment, core. So yep, this is enabling cores. Get thread. Open object. Let's see. I'm about to just like use my hindsight and search for this to see exactly where it exists. And then work my way back to figure out how I would do it in the future. So let's go to the top, click here, and then we can search for create process with logon. And we can see right here in the CLR, we have create process with logon. Let's search for the next one. CLR, here we go. So in this, we probably would just search for the module clr.dll and it would become more apparent. Also, this is taking longer than most, like 1.6 milliseconds versus whatever this is. So if the sorting by duration had worked, it probably would have been near the top. But we can see the calling here. I bet down here it should show the thing as well. We can see the password. So this is how you do it with API Monitor. Really fun program if you want to just like hook things and see this call and stuff. But yeah, so you didn't have to do it with a debugger. You could have done it this way, but let's go back to Linux, what I'm more familiar with, to play with this. And as I switched over to Linux, I realized I forgot something. So let's go back to Windows and fix the permissions on our temp directory, because who knows what we broke with that. So if we go into this temp, we can no longer delete files. And if I will go into properties and try to modify my permissions to enable it, I'm going to have issues, I think. Apply. Yeah, because we don't have the ability to modify files. So we're in kind of a dilemma. The easiest way to fix this is just open up a command prompt. And let's go, well, the easiest way to fix it would be revert to your snapshot because you took one, right? But if you did not, you can go app data local and then icacls temp / inheritance E to enable. And now we have re-enabled inheritance on this directory, which we had disabled before. So if I open a new property, go to security, IPsec has the permissions of its parent directory, which is local, and we can now delete files. So what was it, 5.4, delete, and yep, it works. So that's how you would restore it. So now let's go over to our Linux machine, and if we cat the creds that we put in, we can try using these Oracle creds. So we can do CME SMB 10.10.10 240 -U Oracle SVC and -P this credential. And it takes a second for CrackMap to work, and we get nothing. So let's go and use the KOR's credentials. So Roper 4155 KAORZ. Make sure we have this correct. It does. I'm going to do --users T and user list.txt. So what we're doing here is using CrackMapExec to dump a list of all users. And we could have done this with like Python Bloodhound, but we're going to be doing that later in the video. So I figured I'd show this. So if we cat, what is it? Userlist.text. And then let's do awk print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a list of users. V users.text. Oh, we have to remove this coloring. Let's see. We can just remove everything up until a backslash, because we know the domain. %s stir dot like that. There we go. So everyone is here. And we can see the default user is administrador because this is a Spanish version of Windows, I believe. But with this users.text, we can now spray the password we have and see if we get any hits. And with this, I would also use CrackMapExec to do a password policy dump to see if there's any like account lockout. So we could do --pass pol. Let's see. We just want to specify one. What was that K-ors? Here we go. Pass pol like that. And this would tell us that there's no lockout configured. So we're free to do all the password spraying we want. Minimum password, complexity. Let's see. Account lockout threshold is none. So we didn't get any cracks from this users.text. So let's see. We do have a service MSQL. We don't have that service Oracle, but we do have service MSQL. So what I probably would do here, since there's no lockout, is I'd create a text file of some common passwords and then set a big brute force going with all the users on those. So like what we do is like v pass.text and say like winter 2021. I think this box was a few years ago, or a few months ago. So we do passwords like this and then set this to run. And while that goes, we could be playing with the service Oracle. Now, looking at this, we have Oracle Service 2010. So the email we have, let's see, when was this sent? cd smb less server msql.email. This was set 2020, and they migrated at the beginning of 2020. So the password could potentially be, if we just replace Oracle with MSSQL SVC, MSSQL 2020. So let's try this one. So go back to our CrackMap. MSSQL SVC-P and try this. It's attempting to log in, and that does not work. Let's see, what was the account? Was it MSSQL or just MSQL? So user.text, users.text, SVC_MSQL. Is that what this was for Oracle? WinDev. No, Oracle. No, SVC_Oracle. So I did get that reversed. So try this. And we get in. So let's go and fix our creds because it's SVC_. which makes a lot more sense. In a normal domain, for service accounts, you would normally have SVC at the beginning, so when someone sorts by name, they can see all the service accounts. So that makes a lot more sense than how I had it. But I don't think there was a SVC Oracle account, so nothing else I did was wrong, but some people were probably upset by that as I was going through. So now we have credentials to MSSQL. So do we have msql.py? We have msql client.py. Let's see. This is where the box got really tough, and the unintended route was a lot easier. Alamot has a MSQL thing to enable commands, which was actually unintended. So let's see, MSQL shell. Let's see, let's try this real quick. I've not actually ran this. Is this Python 2 or 3? It's doing from future import print function, so I think this is a Python 2 script. Let's see. SQL.py, set paste. We can disable that. 10.10.10, 240, SVC, MSQL. Then we want to grab the creds. Go here. Paste it. Let's see if it works. Let's see. Error. 10.10.10. Deprecation since Python 3. SVC underscore MSSQL. Oh, we need to do the domain. Let's see. The domain we can pull through CrackMapExec. Come on. Right here. So copy and paste here. Still nothing. Let's try changing the default user, or the user to be the default MSQL user, which is SA, to see if it logs in this way. So Python 3, SQL.py, and we have a login, and we can do who am I, and we see MSQL SQL Express. If we do /all, we can see we do have the SE impersonate privilege, and from here, the way you can go through the box is pretty self-explanatory if you've watched the other videos of this. However, I'm going to hold off until the very end of the video to show you that way, potentially. If this video just is too long and I get burned out from recording, I'll leave that up to you for an exercise, but you can pop the box that way. The intended way is much, much cooler, because it converts Microsoft SQL into a proxy, so you can use the Microsoft SQL service to pivot to other things on the network or just ports on localhost. So I'm going to Google MSSQL Proxy, and I think I said an extra S there. But this is the repository we want, and let's see, it uses Impacket. Please read this article, which is a blog post, and pretty much every command I'm going to be typing is out of this video. So it's a video, they run all the commands, and this is what I'll pretty much be typing. The only catch is this is 2 years old, and if we looked at it, it is Python 2. However, OXDF has ported it to Python 3 if we go to his pull request. So let's go to his branch, and we can just git clone it. So now we'll have a Python 3 version. So git clone this, which just makes it easier to run. And we also want to go to the releases, which are not on OXDF, it's on the original branch. If we go to releases, we can download I think we just need to download this DLL. I wonder if we need to download assembly.dll. I don't think so. So we can move downloads reclador, however you say this, into current directory, and we can execute MSSQL Client, and we'll do, what is the domain? Here it is. So Python 3 MSSQL Client, and this may be in Impacket now, so you may not have to even download this, but we definitely need the DLL. So domain / user, which was svc MSSQL. No. Yeah, then at 10.10.10.240, and they say -Windows auth. Let's see, no object name, no module name thread. Let's see, pip3 install thread. Is it threading or thread? Let's see. This dependency doesn't seem to be working. So I'm going to try to do it with just the version of Impacket I have on my box. So MSSQL Client.py. Where is this installed? User local bin. Okay. I don't know where I got this from. Let's see. Python 3 install thread. I don't know if this is something that's just on Impacket itself, or I had downloaded this and put it there. Did that say local bin? Which... yeah, so I may have put it there. Threads for package. Import thread. Threading. So I think it's threading. pip3 install threading. Let's see. The MSSQL client. From Impacket examples. Let's see. Python 3. Import thread. No module name thread. Do we have a different version of Python 3? Only, oh, we have Python 3.8. MSSQL, let's try 3.8. 3.8. pip 3.8. Do I have 3.7 here as well? My, OS needs a complete rebuild. It's gotten, absolutely crazy over the years of doing HackTheBox videos. So, let's see. pip3.8 install threading. I don't think this needs my keyring password. I don't even know what that is now. Cannot find a version that satisfies the requirements threading. I guess we can just Google the error message and see what comes up. So let's Google this. Stack Overflow. And Python 3, instead of import thread, import _thread. So I wonder if OXDF was just working on an old version of Python with this, since I think it said it was deprecated. Yeah, for 3.6 maybe. So let's try this. MSSQL client, and then search for thread, and we can replace it with a _. So let's do Python 3.8. That looks better. Oh, we have creds here. So let's paste this credential. And I think invalid user. So let's get rid of this and just try the SA password for the default system administrator. And we're in. So the very first thing they did in that video was enable OLE. And then they upload reclador.dll to : Windows Temp spelling it right. RECLI. Let's just copy it. Let's see. LS MSQL Proxy. Here we go. Let's not make any typos. Paste it here too. See if it uploads. Error uploading. Let's see. Etsy host to test.txt. Wonder if we do double backslashes. Let's see. C:/Windows Temp, like that maybe. We're still getting error uploading, which I don't know if that's my MSSQL Proxy having an issue, or not Proxy, but MSSQL Client, or we forgot to do something. Let's see. Command, download, upload. And I like how it says, you know what this means, when I actually don't know what that means. I'm sure if I just read the blog post, it would make sense. But I don't know why this upload isn't working. I'm guessing it's the client. Let's see. We're SA, we logged in, and we can't upload. I'm starting to think that we did a bad job converting this to Python 3. I want to go back to the repo. Where is it? Let's just Google MSSQL Proxy. Go back here. Let's look at the pull request. Commits and see what happens. So OXDF is putting thread. Do I have git clone? I am cloning from him. Let's see. Oh, he created a new branch. So I did not specify the branch when I was doing this. So what I'm going to do is move this DLL up one directory. And let's wipe this out, git clone, and then -b for branch, Python 3. And then we can move that back into this, and all should be right. So if I now just execute this, we probably don't have to specify 3.8. Yep, it just magically works. So let's see, creds.txt. And I should have remembered all this because back whenever he did this, February 16th, both me and him had ported it together down and troubleshooted it to make it Python 3. But let's enable OLE. And then let's try that upload command again. So upload here. And watch, it's still going to fail, and I'm going to go crazy. Upload, there we go. That is good. So now that we have it uploaded, we can do pretty much the same thing. Well, not same thing, but keep following that little video that we linked earlier. So install CLR, Microsoft SQL Server, Proxy DLL. And then paste the password, which I think I had wrong. So cat creds. Grab this. Paste the password. And no such file, the Microsoft SQL Server Proxy. So I think we have to upload this DLL. Let's see. Kind of probably pause the video and look through some of my notes to figure out exactly how I did this step, because this is something I don't do often, and I guess it is complicated. So I think I missed the step of uploading that Microsoft SQL Server DLL. And I want to say it is, let's see, this assembly.dll. So if I save this file, let's move assembly.dll here, and we can rename it to be Microsoft SQL Server Proxy.dll. So now when we go in, we want to do another upload. Wait. Oh, I guess it it pulled it from my directory. I did not expect that to happen, but successfully uploaded and installed. So now we can do dash check, and we want Reclador. I think we don't do a dash there. C : Windows Temp. I think I'm spelling it wrong. Let's see, unknown arguments. We can add a dash there. See what happens. Copy, paste. So Reclador is installed. So now if I do dash start, paste the password again, and we are listening on port leet. So I think that's just a SOCKS proxy we have. So sudo vi etc proxy chains .conf, and let's see, is it a SOCKS 5 or a SOCKS? Well, I'm guessing this is it. 127.0.0.1 leet on SOCKS 5. So if I do proxy chains nc 127.0.0.1 445. Okay, we got a new connection, and we connected to this port. So we could do -zv, so this way it just connects and disconnects. And I can do 5985, and we can see we can now connect to port 5985. It connects and stops if we don't do proxy chains and specify the IP of 10.10.10.240. Doesn't connect. So what this is doing is it's going through that SOCKS proxy, which goes through this application, which then goes to the MySQL server. So localhost is that box. So this is a fun way to pivot through the proxy. And now we can do Evil-WinRM -u. Let's see, the user svc MSQL, like that, I think. -p. Let's see, cat creds, paste it, and then -i 10.10.10.240. I did it wrong. I URL, oh wait, I should be localhost 127.0.0.1, and this needs to be proxy chains. Let's see, I is IP, -u is user, and -p is password, but I'm guessing I have to put it in quotes because this is a comment. And that's it. So it's copying, and now we have successfully pivoted through, accessed WinRM, and now we are on the box as the service MySQL user. So let's do dir, and I probably should have set proxy chains to be quiet, because every time I do this, it's going to oh, it's not doing it every time. I guess maybe my connection died or something. I don't know why it decided to print OK there, but not other places. Oh well. If I do dir on desktop, we do have note and credentials.kdbx. So let's type note.txt to read it. Long running can cause issues. Switch to SSH after getting credentials. So let's download credentials.kdbx. And let's see, we can just download it. I think that will do it. Download successful. So let's exit this. And we have credentials.kdbx, which is a Keypass database. So we'll probably have to run Keypass to John on it. And we get a hash. And I'm going to try seeing if it's in hashcat first. So again, going back to cracking, v hashes / keypass, paste it in. And we can try, see if hashcat knows how to crack this. It's starting its auto mode. Please be patient. Come on, hashcat. And if it doesn't have a, well, no, it did detect it. Because we have detection right here, 13400. And it has recovered it already. So let's just do --show. And we can see the password is Mahalkita. I don't know exactly that. Probably something in non-English. So creds.txt, put keypass, and put that password. So now we have to open this database. So I'm going to run keypassx, and then we will do database open and specify credentials.kdbx and paste in the password. So clicking around Keypass, we saw something on Windows. I like just checking everything. We have some sample entries. Michael 123 or 321. This doesn't look like it's anything interesting. We should go back to the Windows, and we have SSH credentials for evasion. And is SSH on this box? Did I completely miss that when doing my nmap? Let's do nmap PivotAPI. I don't see 22. SSH 10 10 10 240. Wait, what? I think my nmap just completely missed SSH. What? Let's do sudo nmap-scsv-oa nmap pivot API 2 10 10 10 240. Just going to run that again, and I want to look at this real quick. The reason why I jumped to SSH is because the note said please use SSH after getting credentials, but we don't see SSH on our nmap, so something went odd when we were scanning. Or maybe nmap just doesn't like this port for whatever reason, but I don't think that's the case. So let's try this. SSH evasion at 10 10 10 240. Yes. And then we have to do the -o thing. Let's see. SSH do not use key login. Windows is really weird when it comes to SSH logins. What's happening is if I do -v, we can see it's attempting to use all my public keys, and this is actually counting as password attempts. So the public keys fail, and it's like, nope, you can't log in anymore. So SSH do not use pub key. There's a -o option. Let's see. Here we go. We want to add those two. That looks better. And we can go in, pull the password. And we're SSH'd in. Awesome. So I'm going to go back into creds.txt. And we will paste these creds. Okay, and I'm going to clean up real quick. Let's look at nmap PivotAPI 2.nmap, and we see SSH is listening now. So my nmap just missed it. And this was a scan running without using scripts. So this is why I don't like playing with like --min-rate, because nmap will miss things more often than just a regular scan. Simple DNS plus. Is that different? Nope, that's the same. But yep, always be careful with nmap. I guess it's not 100% reliable, or maybe SSH wasn't running at the time I scanned. I don't know. But let's clean up my connections so we can just have a good pause thing. What if I can do -stop? Nope. I don't know if there's a way to clean that up, so we're just going to leave it there. Exit, exit, and here's my normal nmap. Okay. So let's cat creds.txt, and we'll SSH into this box. So SSH, ooh, -o. Do I have -o here? Grab this. SSH. There we go. And then 3v4si0n at 10.10.10.240. Paste the password. And I'm going to run PowerShell. So now we have like the ls command. It's not actually in PowerShell. I think it's alias to like get child items, but just makes life easier. So if we go into desktop, we can do dir. We see user.txt. Let's see what else is there. If we go to /, there is this developers folder. If I go into it, we don't have permission to do anything in here. If we do whoami/all, we can see what privileges. We could do like net user, but we've already kind of done this with our CrackMapExec a long time ago and got a list of users. So now's a good time to run like Bloodhound. So we could upload sharphound there, but one thing I like doing, I think I have it on my box, Bloodhound.py. So if I go into Bloodhound.py, let's just clean up all the previous things. We can run Python 3, Bloodhound.py, and we can generate a Bloodhound thing this way as well. So -u, we're going to do, doesn't matter which user we do, we have plenty. All the users will get the same data, but we can do 3v4si0n at, let's see, do the whole domain. Okay. Let's see. We can specify -ns to do name server, so 10.10.10.240. Then let's see, -d, that, --dc. We'll do PivotAPI, and this works because we've done our host name, or like our Etsy host file. If I go into less Etsy host, we can see PivotAPI and all the domain is there. So I think I just need to put the password now, and it may work. So -p, like that. Doesn't like the DC. We don't have to specify that. Shoot. Digest mod. 3.8. Let's see if it works here. Looks like it does. I think I was running Python 3.9, which I didn't install all the dependencies, but you can see it is working now. And we have some Bloodhound data. We see that JSON. So I'm going to sudo near4j console, and then we'll run Bloodhound. We log in with our credentials, and then let's go and upload. So HTTP, PivotAPI. No, this is in opt-bloodhound.py. opt-bloodhound.py. And we have a few JSON files. So we can upload all these. And once it's there, we'll be able to play around within Bloodhound. So it looks like it is all uploaded. So now we can just go here, go to analysis, and we can like find all domain admins. See, there's two. We have Cybervaca and Administrador. We can also like, let's see, find shortest path to domain administrators is a common one, and we don't see any paths. So we could kind of click around and see what there is, but at this point we should mark all the users that we have as owned. So we have Evasion, so let's mark him as owned. Wait, what? Mark user as owned, there we go. We have the service account for MSSQL. We can mark him as owned. And then we also have Keywords. Mark as owned. So that lets us do shortest path from owned principals, which is a nice query. So if we look at MSQL, there's nothing. Let's look at Keywords, there's nothing. And then we can go to Evasion, and we have nothing. Let me see. Looks like I didn't collect something by default, I think. Hold on, let's do Evasion, EV. So I'm looking at this, and I don't have any, like, things here. I should see, well, group memberships. I'm going to try collection all with Bloodhound. So let's do -C all. And we'll see if this gets us anything extra. The output looks kind of the same, but we'll see if there's other data now in this. Come on. LSLA star.json. This one is considerably bigger than this one. So there's definitely more information here. So we can just run Bloodhound again, and then upload the new files. And we'll see what extra data we have. So now if I go to analysis, let's go own principal, Evasion, we actually have data here. So we can also shortest path to domain admin. It's now showing some groups. Before it just showed users, so there's nothing really there. But let's see. Own principals. Is there anything in MSQL? It can WinRM into the box. So nothing really there. Let's do own principals. Keywords. There's nothing for him. And Evasion. Pretty much the same thing, except he's just got generic all over Dr.Zaiuss. So having generic all over Dr.Zaiuss means we could reset his password. So we can mark him as owned too, because we know we have that. And the other way you could kind of find this is if you click on your user and then scroll down, we can see first degree object control. And we can see I have generic all over a lot of users. So we could own any one of these, Manuel Corti, Oscar, OXDF, or even myself, IPSEC. So we can reset any of those passwords. So let's go back into our SSH. And if I do like net user, IPSEC, password 123 bang, I'm guessing that means the command is completed successfully. If we try like Cybervaca, which we know is a user, it gets error access denied because we don't have the generic all over that user. But the really interesting one is Dr.Zaiuss, because that had a shortest path. So let's go back to that and look at this. So shortest path from own principal. Let's see. Evasion. So he can reset Dr.Zaiuss' password, who is a member of WinRM that can WinRM into the box. So Evasion itself was not a WinRM user. Let's see what Dr.Zaiuss can do. So let's do analysis. What is shortest path from own principals? Dr.Zaiuss. Dr.Zaiuss doesn't really have too much. He can WinRM into the box. If we look at his first degree object controls, he does have generic all over two different users. The first one is Superfume, and the second one is manual QWERTY. Well, this QWERTY user we could already control because we have access to it from Evasion. And I'm looking at him, just looking at this first degree group membership. He's just a member of, I think that's domain users. So it's not too interesting. Let's go to that second user. So clicking all the way back. I wish there was like a back button to just go to the previous screen. We can look at Superfume. And if I look at the groups here, he's a member of 3 groups. We have developers, WinRM, and domain users. So this user is more interesting because he's a member of that developers group. And Evasion, there is this developers folder that we can't access. So I'm guessing the Superfume user can now access this. So let's reset the password for Dr.Zaiuss. So Dr. Is that it? Let's see. Zaiuss. Okay. That's by user not found. Zaiuss. Zaiuss. There we go. So now we want to WinRM as him because we can't SSH, I don't think, as him. So if I tried Dr. Zaiu, that's right, I think. Password oh, shoot. I have a typo in that password. Thankfully, I noticed. So copy, paste, can't log in. So let's go back to Evasion, and we can say -L 5985 localhost 5985. So what this is going to do is use SSH to do the port forward instead of doing WinRM. Or instead of using that MSSQL thing. So let's cat creds, grab Evasion's password, and then, let's see, we can Evil-WinRM as this user. Evil-WinRM -I 127.0.0.1 -U Dr.Zaiuss -P at SSWRD 123 bang. See if that works. If not, we'll try resetting his password again. Let's see, NC ZV localhost 5985. That works. It's having trouble locally. Let's see, the requested host name is invalid. -H. So way to specify host name. Realm, scripts, IP. Huh. Let's do sudo vi etc host. And let's try 127.0.0.1. Actually, we can just yank this line. And try this. PivotAPI. See if this works. Net user Dr.Zaiuss P at SS WRD 123 bang. Maybe my hardest part is going to be typing these users. Let's try this. See if this works. There we go. Finally in. I think I was mistyping this user's name. So now we have a shell as Dr.Zaiuss, and he could reset Superfume's password. So net user Superfume password 123 bang. And then we can do Evil-WinRM-I PivotAPI Superfume-P password 123 bang. So now we're in as Superfume. So let's do cd developers. And there's two directories, Jari and Superfume. So if I do dir on Jari, guessing, oh, I can access it. We have program.cs and restart msSQL.exe. If we do dir on Superfume, there's nothing here. So let's go into Jari's directory. And I'm just going to look at program.cs to see what this is. And do we have a credential? So it looks very similar to Restart-Oracle, except it's doing RC4. So we could probably just download this program and then have it print out the data. So I'm going to download restart msql.exe, and we'll copy it over to Windows. So let's go, let's see, is this where it is? Yep. So we can cp restart msSQL to www. Okay, I think I still have the web server running. Maybe I don't. Let's do python 3-m http.server, and then jump over to our Windows machine, close out of API monitor, and go here, refresh the page, download MSSQL. I think it wants us to trust it. Let's keep it. And I think it's in downloads. Unconfirmed still. Is it common? Let's see. Keep anyway. There we go. Copy this over to my desktop. And I switched away from Chrome. Like, I did a cut because I noticed whenever I was going into Chrome on this Windows machine, like, my mic was giving me issues, which is weird. So if that was happening earlier in the video when I was doing any reversing, sorry about that. But we want to go back to DNSpy now, and we can open the new exe we downloaded, the Restart MSSQL. And funnily enough, I think it's called app domain or whatever, the class or whatever it's called, is Restart-Oracle, not MSSQL. So super similar source. We can see, yeah, the namespace. That's what it's called, namespace right here. But now it has that RC4 piece. So we can right-click, edit method, and we want to display this byte array. So let's copy this console right line, and then we can just change this to be encoding default get string, and then the array, like that, and then click compile. And now we have edited this, so we can just, before we save it, let's go cd desktop, and we can execute restart MSSQL, and we don't see anything. It's going to do a wait for, or sleep for 5 seconds, and then return back. So now if I save the module and execute it again, we get a second string, and this is the password for Jari, which is the username here. So I'm going to switch back to my VM, and we can go v-creds.sh or .text, Jari, and then this password. But we probably should have validated it's correct. So CME SMB 10.10.10 240-U Jari-P, and we'll put the password in. Let this run, and hopefully it says we can pwn it, but it doesn't. It just says valid credential. We have nothing else. So let's go back over to Bloodhound. And did we mark Dr.Zaiuss as owned? Oh, we can mark Superfume as owned. Let's make sure he was owned. He is. And also, Jari is owned. So let's mark him as owned. I'm going to click on him as well and see what the Jari user can do. He is in first degree groups. Let's see. Developer, WinRM, I think remote desktop users maybe? I don't know. And that's domain users. I just see the remote thing. So I don't know exactly what this user can do. He does have force change password against 2 users, Gibdian and StormQ. So let's look at what these users are. I can mark both of these as owned because we can change passwords. So we know we can log into them. And what we should do, let's do, actually let's go back to analysis and we can just do path from owned. Shortest path from owned principals. Let's look at Gibdian. Let's see. He is member of this. Generic all to WinRM. And he can PS remote. Okay. Let's look at the Storm user. What can you do? Oh, shoot. I forgot to do analysis. Shortest path from owned. Storm. Nothing. So no data returned for him. I'm going to look back at Gibdian, see if he owns anything. Let's see. Click here. Explicit object controls. Let's see. Let's go back to groups. What are you a member of? Unrolled group memberships. This is a mess. I don't know what this group is. Let's copy this. Let's go to translate.google.com and see what this is. Don't know what that means. Let's see. Getting started with group managed service accounts. I think this is domain users. Let's see what this means. Always challenging when, like, troubleshooting something in a language that's not your native. Or that you know at all. Let's see, what is this? Domain users. So that one translates well. This one, not so much. I'm guessing maybe... Oh, description. That'll be good. What is your description? Members that can manage domain users and group accounts. So this is LAPS. So this group is important. So we're a member of it. So let's switch over to him. If I go back into here, who am I? I think all my sessions died. Who am I? Yeah. Well, we don't need to start the chain at Dr.Zaiuss because we have a credential. We have Jari. So let's go cat creds.txt and we'll log in with Jari. So this Jari. Okay. And then we want to change the password for, is it Gibdion? Like that. I'll find out. Net user Gibdion p at ssword 123 bang. Am I allowed? Let's see. Net user think I spelled that correctly. Gibdian. So that is access denied. So let's see, Gibdian. Let's go back to Jari. Let's see, 2 here from owned, shortest path 2 here. We can go back to Gibdian. And then if we do shortest path 2 here from owned, there we go. So Jari has forced password change. We can do help on this edge, abuse info, set domain user password. I wonder if the net user command, or net what I'm doing, if that just doesn't work for this. Let's see, /domain. I didn't do it before, so I don't think it's needed. So I'm going to try to use PowerView to change this password. So I think to do this, I need to copy PowerView to a directory. So I'm going to copy it to PS. So cp opt PowerView and let's see, opt PowerExploit. If I do git branch, you can see I checked out the dev branch. So let's go back to this, cp, and then the directory is recon PowerView.ps1, and I'm going to copy it to the PS directory. So now with my Evil-WinRM command, I'm going to specify -s, and we'll do home HTTP PivotAPI PS. So this should load all the scripts I have in here. So if I do menu, we should, well, let's bypass AMSI. I think we can now load PowerView if we just type PowerView.ps1 once this works. It's patched. PowerView.ps1. Let's see if it loads. It's been a while since I used Evil-WinRM to do this. And now that it's loaded, I think I type the menu command and see the extra features I have, which are from the PowerView module. So the function we actually want, which was referenced by Bloodhound, is, what is it? Like set, God, where is it? Here we go. Help. Let's see, abuse, force change, set domain user password is what we want. So if I look at this, we have it right here. So to use this, we have to create a password that's a secure string. So I'm going to call pwd. I'm going to say convert to secure string password 123 bang, and then as plain text force. So now pwd is a secure string that we can use with set domain user password dash identity gibdian dash account password pwd, and let's see if we can now WinRM here. So I called it password 123 with no leet. Establishing, is it going to say bad password or is it going to let me in? It's taking its sweet time. Come on. I don't think it's going to work. So let's see. Set domain user password identity gibdian. The password was this. Try copy and pasting it. Authorization error. Like that. What gets me is it didn't give me any error or output at all from the set domain user password command. So I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Who am I? We are this user. We should be able to Does he not have WinRM? Let's look at the groups he's in. Let's see, first degree group memberships. Oh, he is not in WinRM, so maybe that's why we can't. Notice he doesn't have any like can ps remote to things. So we may have to do commands on his behalf, which is going to get a little bit more tricky. So let's see. Let's work off of a text file because this gets tricky. So let's see. ATK, we'll call this Gibdian path.ps1, I guess. If I do .sh, I think we'll have syntax highlighting, actually. There we go. So the first thing we do is set Gibdian's password. Then what we want to do is create a credential object for Gibdian. So we can do cred is equal to new object, system, management, automation, ps credential, and then the domain, LICORDEBELOTA. Hopefully that is correct. And that should have been in quotes. I'm going to do single quotes. I hope I don't have to like escape that slash. That's why I switched to single quotes, because double quotes, that looked different. So we'll do it as single quotes. And then the password is PWD. So that should set the cred object. So with this, we should be able to add AD group member, identity, lapse admin, members. Are we Gibdian or are we Jari? We're Jari. Okay. So we can add the member Gibdian. And then dash credential cred. And let's add lapse read as well. So if we copy all these commands, let's see what happens. So paste. I did not copy everything, and now everything's erroring. So copy this. Let's just paste it again. And if we do net user Gibdian, does it tell us the groups? He is now lapse admin, lapse read. So now we should be able to get the lapse password, which is in Get-ADComputer, because the password is stored with the computer object. And I'm just going to do filter star property star. And I don't think I specified the correct user. Let's see, PWD, expiration. Let's see. Let's do dash credentials. And we called it cred, I think, right? Is it cred or creds? Cred. There we go. That is Gibdian's. Credentials, cred. Is it credential? Okay. So now we ran this as Gibdian. And let's see, we got MCS password expiration time. There should be one for lapse, what I'm not seeing. Let's see, properties. Is it MS, MCS, ADM, PWD, I think? SAM account. I don't know why this isn't showing it. dash properties. Weird. I could have swore this should pull laps. Let's see. Net user Gibdian. He is a member of laps. Dash properties MS MCS ADM PWD. Let's see. Laps, get password, PowerShell. I wonder if like it's just not a part of this version of Get-ADComputer that is on the box, because that's not in packet. Yeah, MS MCS ADM PWD. So this should get it. Let's just copy this, paste, and got the expiration time, but we don't have the actual password. So that's a bummer. Thankfully, there's more than one way to skin the cat, so we can always just revert back to like a Python module to grab it. So GitHub, laps, export, Python. Let's see what this brings us. We have this laps dumper script, and we need username, password, LDAP server, and domain. Okay. So go over here, v laps.py, paste this in. Python 3 is it going to tell us? Yep. So user, Gibdian, password. What is it? I think we had it here. Cat Gibdian path. That is why I created that text file. Okay. And then what else do we need? Domain. Can't find it in my history, but I did find it in this output because we typed it once. So we can do that. And then, let's see, we need -L for LDAP server 10.10.10.240. And this should have .htb, I believe. And that weird Python error. Let's do Python 3.8. Wait. LDAP bind error. Let's see, Gibdian. I wonder if the password reverted for him by now. So let's pwd. Where's the set password? Let's see. Get convert who am I? Set domain password. There it is. Try this again. And we have the password. So this is probably not the machine account. This password script makes it look like it's the machine account, but this is going to be the default administrator password because you only do like one laps account per machine. So this machine's random password is this. So we can do psexec.py, and then the catcher is this is a box in Spanish. So if we analysis, find all domain admins, the domain admin is actually administrador, not administrator. Let's see if we try administrator first. I don't think it's going to work. Administrator at 10.10.10.240. And then copy this. Paste. Yeah, it fails. Administra. Is it just a D? There we go. And we have a shell on the box. So if we do cd users, we can go into administrador. So cd administrador. Go to desktop. And there is no flag, but the other domain admin user was cybervaca. So if we go into his directory, cd .. cybervaca, desktop, we can get root.txt this way. So that is the box doing it mostly the intended way. I'm going to clean up these sessions and then probably tomorrow finish up the video doing the unintended way. So I hope you guys could follow that, and hopefully I didn't screw it up too much because that was a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, the unintended way, which has a lot less steps. You don't have to do all that fancy SQL proxying stuff because there is that Alamot script that has the ability to execute codes on the SQL server, and your NT service SQL Express, and you have a bunch of privileges. So if I do whoami/all, we can see we do have SC impersonate, but I think there is stuff that kind of like makes rogue potato tough or impossible to do. But the easier way is through Kerbrute, because SQL servers generally have unconstrained delegation to the domain controller, especially if you install SQL on the domain controller itself. So if you don't know what script I just ran, it was earlier in the video, but I'm sure you can just Google Alamot SQL shell, and then the modification we made was pretty much just the server and credentials. So that gets us a shell on the box. So we want to go into program data, because this is a good spot to just write files to. I don't think we can actually write in System32 as NT service, but program data is generally writable by all users. And then the next thing is we have to get Rubius. Now, I'm just going to locate Rubius.exe and find out where it is on my machine. I would highly, highly recommend, if you don't know what Sharp Collection Framework is, or the GitHub repo, going over to it, because it has just a bunch of .NET tooling if you ever want to play with it. Like print nightmares here, certify, better safety cats. There's just tons and tons of things. Now, the downside is if you want to do this on a pen test and you're having troubles with AV, you won't really be able to use this, because the best way to bypass that is to download the source code and change all the like variable names and namespace in the source code itself, because .NET makes it really easy for AV or EDR to see those things running. But for this, we just pretty much can upload Rubius. So I'm going to do upload, and then I'm going to specify Rubius.exe, and we have an error. Base64 has no attribute encode string. So I'm going to look at SQL.by, search for encode string, and this is probably a Python 2 thing. I don't know exactly what library it is, but it's base64.b64 encode to encode a string. So hopefully that's the only change I have to make. I'm going to go back into program data, and we'll try uploading. Looks like we are uploading now. So it's going to take a second, and then once this runs, we will run Rubius with tgt-deleg, or DELEG, short for delegation, to get a ticket. And then we'll copy that ticket back to our box and use ticket converter to like make a ticket so we can use it with secret stump. And MD5 hash does not match. So it looks like we still had some type of error uploading the file. So that sucks. Well, you know, let's see, I think we can go into users. Let's see, is there evasion? Can we go into his directory? No. I don't know exactly how to fix the uploading of files. I'm guessing the script just needs to be updated. You can probably pull a different SQL shell script. I'm not going to waste too much time doing that because this is the unintended way. Instead, I'm just going to upload Rubius through SCP. So I'm going to search for -O because we definitely need this preferred authentication to disable pub key. So I'm going to get rid of the port forward here and change SSH to be SCP. Put it in, let's see, /program data. I think we can just do that. And we'd specify the file. So I'm going to go locate again, and let's copy this. And this is going to be the other thing. Maybe it was AV that was deleting the file. So if SCP doesn't work for me, then we're going to have to go through that obfuscation path, which will be a pain. But I'm going to copy the password, and then hopefully it sends. It looks like it is. So now I'm going to go back to this SQL shell. If I go into program data, we can see rubyus.exe. So I'm going to try to execute it just to make sure like Defender doesn't flag or something and it looks good. I always like using /no-wrap to prevent the base64 blobs from being line wrapped, so we can show it with and without that real quick. Rubyus.exe, tgt deleg, and you can see the base64 is a bit weird. If I copy this, I'd have to remove all the spaces to decode it, which that's easy to do, but just a hassle. I always like using rubyus.exe, tgt deleg /no-wrap, and now we have it like this, and it's still putting it on separate lines because this shell is weird, so we're gonna have to clean that up. But can copy that. Then let's go to a new thing. Let's call this ticket.kirby. I guess B64 because it's base64 encoded. And oh, we have spaces all over. This is annoying. This should not have happened when I did no wrap, but looks like it's fine. I'm going to see if base64 complains about bad characters. So let's see. D, it did not say anything about bad characters. I don't have a terminal back because it just, okay, Control-C fixed it. If you ever don't, I normally hit Control-C, then type reset, and that generally does a good job. But let's base64 decode it into ticket.kirby. And then we can run a program called ticket converter. And we just say ticket.kirby to, KRBI, I misspelled that, but, and then ticket.cc cache, or ccache. And that's generally, I guess we need to move ticket.kirby to ticket.kirby. I think that will fix it. I think that's the extension it looks for. Unknown file format. Let's see. Base64 ticket.kirby. I'm just going to try to redo this real quick. Remove all ticket.kirbys. Let's copy this again. So copy. I'm not sure if I like highlighted or I used tmux before to copy. So maybe I just highlighted and that was bad. V ticket.kirby.b64. Paste. That looks a bit better. I'm just going to delete all these line breaks by hitting home and backspace. Put this all on one line. That looks better. Base64-D ticket.kirby to this without B64. So let's try running this ticket converter command again. There we go. That worked. So it is very picky on how you do the format. So now all we have to do is export KRB5cc name is equal to the path of this. So home ipsec htb PivotAPI, then ticket.cc or ccache. I always say cc cache, but it's just ccache. And there we go. And this isn't going to work right away. The issue we're going to have is if we look at our nmap, we will see a time drift. So let's see. Clock skew info, we're about 6 minutes off of the server. And I think for Kerbrute to work, you have to be within 5 minutes. So let's try running this secrets dump command real quick. So secrets dump.py, we have to specify the domain. So this .htb / PivotAPI is the host name. And we put a $ at the end because it's the machine account. And then specify the DC's fully qualified domain name, -DCIP, give it 10.10.10.240, specify no pass, and we also want to put -K, and -K is going to be, I believe, what uses the KRB5cc name variable. So if I try running this, it just cleans up. And I think that's because the date time is screwed up. So what I'm going to do is sudo, well, before we do this, let's try running CrackMapExec, because this actually does support this option as well. So smb-k 10.10.10.240. I want to say that's all we have to do. Let's see what happens here. No. Let's see. Is it -K after the IP? Connection refused. Wait. CME. Connection refused is not what I expected. Let's try editing the host file and putting the IP correctly. I don't think that would be it, but who knows. Let's try this. And still nothing. We're supposed to get a better error message. I'm going to try doing it again. Kerbrute 5cc name is equal to home IPsec HTTP PivotAPI. Maybe I forgot the HTTP. And then ticket.cc cache. There we go. Run CrackMap again and see what happens. Okay, so this is giving us a better error message saying the clock skew is too great. If we went back and did the secrets dump command again, that looks right. This probably won't even give us an error message, right? So let's do sudo ntp date-u 10.10.10.240. And what this is going to do is update our time to be that of the domain controllers. Active Directory has a NTP server, so we can see it just updated our time. So if I go to CrackMapExec, it will tell me the authentication was successful, I hope. Server not found in Kerbrute database. Well, that's not great. But on the plus side, it didn't say clock skew is wrong. So I'll take a win where I got it. Okay, it just needs a host name. Because when it's trying Kerbrute authentication, it's saying trying to authenticate as 10.10.10.240, and it's like, I don't know who you are. So you need to specify the actual host name. That makes sense. But let's go back to the secrets dump. We can see we can now dump all the hashes. So I just Control-C it because we don't actually need them all. We just need this administrators. So we can do psexec.py. I wonder if we can just do -K if we even need the hash. Administrador at PivotAPI. See if we need it. Let's see. I think it was -no pass. So -no -pass. Let's see what happens. No, we can't. So we want to do a password. And I'm going to do the hash : the hash. See if that works. That's what I did for the password, and it does not look like it worked. More processing request. I'm actually not sure what... Oh, probably because I have the K there still. Bad authentication. Let's see. psexec.py-h. How do we specify a hash? -hashes. So let's try this. -hashes. And log in. And here we go. Now we are admin or local system on this box. Yeah, local system. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, and I will see you all next week.